Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
First of all, I would like to welcome everyone to this special event organized by MSSN LASU-EPE in conjunction with LASU-MEGA. We are going to start in a bit, so I would like to confirm if everybody can hear me.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, that's perfect. So, we are going to start the program with the opening prayer by the Amir of MSSN LASU-EPE campus, Brother Idowu Sadiq. The Amir, please, over to you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I don't know if you can hear me clearly. I just need confirmation.
We can.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. So, first and foremost, I'm really glad to be here, and we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this session a very enlightening one. As we all know, we've all joined this session hoping to learn quite a lot as regards the opportunities out there in the tech space. And this Enlight is one that is motivating enough as Muslims that I want to get better as regards trying to figure out a career we want to select for ourselves, trying to have a niche. So all that would come out from this event, this virtual program, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it a successful one on our sojourn towards enhancing our career. We ask Allah to make this career expo one that would give light to a lot of transformational progress in our life. It should be like a pivotal success to our own life, our own career, and makes us persons, individuals as Muslims who tend to project themselves to be better, and everything that we endeavor to achieve, may Allah make that successful. So in light of that, I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all that will come forth of this event a successful one. Bismillah al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Amen. No.
Thank you very much, Amir, for that opening prayer. May Allah reward you abundantly. So we're going to go to the next item on the agenda, which is the brief introduction of the program and what we are here for, And I'm going to call on Engineer Munir Idris to give us a brief introduction of what we are all here for and how the program is going to impact each and every one of us.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah. So I'd like to welcome every one of us to this, like the first edition of a series of career expo that we're going to be having. So the idea is that experience, they say, is the best teacher. And it's also important who you're taking your experience from. So we are your senior colleagues, LASU-MEGA. We are like senior colleagues to you guys currently on campus. And we feel that among us, we have professionals in various field of practice. And then we feel it is okay that, we get these guys to share one or two things with you. So it helps to, it serves as a catalyst to helping you plan your career life properly. So today's session, it's not going to be the end of it. It's the first in a series of career sessions we are going to be having. And some few months ago, we started a solution with Ustaki. We had an agreement with Ustaki to help us train our members and by extension, the students currently on campus. So this session is also, we want to use this session to further, expose us and also bring to know what are the opportunities that are currently present in the tech space. Of course, we are not going to be discussing everything. We just streamline it into, we have two speakers that will be talking to us. And these are speakers that are, they've been there and they have experience. So they will be sharing with us. And hopefully, inshallah, would have more of you guys now seeing the need why you need to, join the Ustaki program. And then we can have a bigger, better, more, professionally minded humor. And everybody grows together. So I want to indulge every one of us to pay attention and may Allah make it easy for our speakers and also the listeners. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much, Engineer Munir, for that brief introduction. So we are going to be moving on to the introduction of our guest speakers. So as we all know, we have two guest speakers who will be lecturing us today. And the first speaker, Engineer Ibrahim Hidowu, is a Microsoft certified professional and certified ITIL4 holder, whose career accomplishments consist of more than 9 years of experience implementing Microsoft technologies and projects and analyzing support strategies and processes to facilitate improved operations and efficiency. He has led major intranet and process automation projects at various client sites across telecoms, banking, insurance, oil and gas, and government in Nigeria and Cameroon. He holds a bachelor's degree in electronics and computer engineering from the prestigious Lagos State University, as well as a master's of information technology in University of Lagos. He's a member of NSC, Nigeria Society of Engineers, NIEE, IEEE, and Korean. He currently works with Africa Plus Partners as head of information and technology. I guess that does it for a brief introduction of the first speaker. Then the second speaker, Engineer Elias Idowu Durosimi, is a highly organized engineering tech lead with over 11 years of professional experience, leading a software engineering team of 4 to 6 members. He has a proven track record of using good engineering practice to produce software for new, innovative, and profitable products and solutions, either online application development or desktop application. At the heart of his strengths is the ability to work on developing software systems by accurately interpreting user requirements, then creating the required software designs, coding and testing them, and finally integrating the software. He is a real team player and he holds a bachelor's degree in electronics and computer engineering from the prestigious Lagos State University, and he currently works with Andela as a software engineer assessment lead. We can all see that our two speakers are products of our institution here, and so we should be able to relate a lot to the knowledge that they will be passing across to us. So I will be calling on the first speaker, Engineer Ibrahim Idowu, to give us his lecture.
Can I be heard? Can you confirm I can be heard?
Yes, you can hear me. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Brother Bakari, for the citation. It's a pleasure to be here. Before I proceed, let me greet my mentor in person of Dr. Idris Munir. I remember back in the day, while we were in school, while we were in 300, I think it was in 500, yeah, where it was one of our mentors, yes, and I could testify that yet a very powerful brother back in school, and till today, the relationship has still been very, very cordial. So I appreciate that. Without saying too much, because I'm sure I have a limited time, I want to say big jazakumullah khairan to the organizers, and I want to also congratulate everyone on this call. I'm sure I can see 2, 3 of my mentees, I mean, my personal mentees here, and I'm super excited, to be here today. And yeah, so I think we'll just go to the lecture proper. It's just like a chit chat. Yeah, forget about the profile. I know when we were in school too, we used to hear all of this and we'll be like, hey, when will I get to this point? But hey, it's not a matter of time. I mean, it takes, in a couple of years, you also be done. So what you just need to do now is just to, just focus and yeah, and have your plans in sight, and you'll be good. So what I've been told to talk about, it's on prospecting the Microsoft ecosystem. So like it was rightly said, I'm actually a Microsoft person because I've been doing Microsoft since I was in my 400 level. When I went for my IT, I was opportune to join a company as a Microsoft partner. Ever since then, I fell in love with Microsoft suits. And whether we like it or not, I'm sure 99% of everyone here would have one thing or the other to do with Microsoft. Do you have anybody who doesn't use any Microsoft products? Yeah, from Windows to Office Suite, to Azure, to SQL for those who are developers, and name them, right? So virtually all of us are. I think somebody's showing his video. I think you can put it up so that you won't distract us, please. Okay, so like I said, so every one of us, virtually every one of us uses Microsoft suite of products to do one thing or the other. So, and that is why you agree with me that the adoption of Microsoft products is actually high, even within organizations. There's no way you actually evade, do without their line of Microsoft line of products. And I'll go ahead to share my screen now. Please just confirm when you can see it. Okay, host, please, I need to be able to share my screen. I think you need to make me a host. Host, please, can you make me? Hello?
Yeah, you're a host now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Please confirm you can see my screen. Hello?
Yes, you can see your screen. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Okay, so this is me. Just briefly, this is me, and I was rightly introduced. So yes, we were going to be looking at some aspects, some of the opportunities in Microsoft, in their line of business, but I'll be focusing particularly on the low-code revolution. And what's low-code revolution? All of us here, I'm sure we've heard about, development, how to build apps, how to do this, and some of us are already learning CSS, HTML, JavaScript, Java, and all, of course, all of us know all the programming languages that we're trying to learn. But then you would agree with me that this is not easy to learn. You get to a point to feel like I can't cope again. It has done, it's what has affected, what has happened to me before, what has happened to someone before, you get to a point where you feel I can no longer cope and all of those things. So, so the barrier of entry, is a bit high. And so when we now talk about low-code revolution, we need to talk about changing workforce. 35% of the present workforce now is about the millennials. We're talking about Generation Z. We're talking about people who are used to, carrying mobile phones. So we're in an era that it's mobile first. whatever application you are building, you need to also consider mobility. So there's a workforce now that is mainly consists of the millennials and as well as Generation Z. And by 2025, I mean, this narrative will continue. In fact, it will be on the increase. Now, there's also the fact that there's a surging digital demand. I mean, over 500 new apps will be built in the next 5 years, which you agree with me. You also agree with me that the number of applications that have been built in the past 5 years is far more than the number of applications that have been built in the past, 40 years beyond. Beyond. You agree with me. And that's why you see, you hear Tech Bro and Tech Sis these days. It's about, development of applications, and which, even if you go to Play Store now or iOS stores, you see people are churning out applications every day. So it means that there's a demand for this, right? So the demand for mobile application is also 5 times faster that even IT department of any organization cannot even accommodate. So imagine an organization where you have HR department, you have quality assurance department, you have all departments wanting to build one application or the other, and they are going to IT to say, we need this application, we need this. How many people are in the IT department? Can they afford to take on all of these processes that are required? So the same thing is for data. There's data everywhere within the organization. How do you analyze this data? For top management executive, what they want to see is analytics. How do they see these analytics? They don't want to see your data. They just want to see dashboard. They want to see pie charts. They want to see, all of this. And how many developers do we have? Let us ask again. In that same IT department, do you have enough developers? Even recruiting developers now, how easy it is. The demand for developers is actually very, very high. And do we have the requisite skill? My colleague is here, my brother, Drosimi Elias. He also recruits, one of the job functions I'm sure he does is recruitment of developers. He will also tell us, getting developers is not that easy. So because the demand is also very high, there's also the fact that there's economic downturn. We can't forget easily. The last 2 years when we had the pandemic, even up till now, there were things went haywire. Organizations needed to, manage the little resources that they have, to ensure that they hang in there and their business does not collapse. So what it means for any existing business is that they cannot afford to pay huge to build applications, to manage the processes within the organization. So there comes the low code revolution. Now, what's low code? Low code is about creating applications for consumption by either yourself or others, using tools that are not forbidden by IT or by business. Now, get me clearly. Remember that when I started, I was talking about writing codes to build softwares. I was talking about writing codes to build enterprise applications, right? But I'm now telling you that there's also another means of building these solutions, going the route of low code. So low code means that for people who are non-IT people, you are in chemical and polymer department, you are in agriculture department, you are in political science, you are in law, you are a medical student. We are saying that, yes, instead of you can also build your applications, enterprise applications without writing single line of code. The knowledge you just have to have is that once you can use Excel, you can use PowerPoint, you are able to build applications. And the reason is clear, because not everyone can write code, but of course you should be able to solve your own solution, your own challenge. So people who write low code are actually called citizen developers. Now, low code is about what? Is about democratization. When you say democratization, what does it mean? It means that making development, rapidly become more accessible to non-IT people. It's about rapid application development. You are able to build, you are able to build applications, you are able to solve people's problem, without writing, without necessarily having to write JavaScript or the likes. So, and this brings us to, I would have shown us this video of a guy called Summit, but I will quickly do that. Let me see if I'm able to, let me show us this video of this guy. And Hold on a second for me while I bring up that screen. Please confirm. Can you confirm if you can see and hear what he's saying? Can you see the video and can you hear what he's saying?
Yeah, we can see the video, but we can't hear.
But you can't hear. Wow. Let me see. Is there a way to bring this in?
You might need to click on share, and at the bottom you will see share sound. So just go off the share screen and try to share again. At the bottom of that share, you would see share sound.
Okay, let me do that. Okay, I'm about.
This opportunity came up as becoming a
Can we hear the sound now?
officer. I thought, what?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I don't just want to make a living. I want to make a difference. When I left school at 16, my dad was working in Heathrow at the time, and this opportunity came up as becoming a security officer. I thought, what a great opportunity, you know. My dad used to take me here to watch seaplanes and everything. So why not work for a company or an airport like Heathrow? I've been a security officer for 13 years. When I saw the amount of paper and time we were spending, I saw an app would be a great solution for these problems to be solved. About a year ago, I started learning about the Microsoft programs. I went home and I looked at that blog from Power Apps, and it said, this is how you can build an app. And I thought, why didn't no one know this? Because this could have so much potential to change so many things. We have saved 11,000 sheets of paper and saved around 288 hours of manual input data. Going from paper to digital has been amazing. It doesn't matter what your skill levels are like, anybody can build this app.
Him with his community of super users have created 17 Power Apps that are already being used across our airport, and this is just the tip of the iceberg.
My name is Sam Saini, and I'm a IT user adoption specialist at Heathrow. There's no limit of what you can create with new technology. I'll create a new career.
Okay, awesome. So that was Summit. So that was Summit. That Summit was a security guy at Heathrow Airport, and he saw that there was a need for them to, innovate, because there were so many papers being banned to address all of that. And that's why he stumbled upon a no-code platform, and he was able to solve the solution. And that was how his story changed from being a security guy to IT adoption specialist. So now I will be talking about the Microsoft Power Platform, which is a low-code platform by Microsoft. So it actually consists of 4 components, which we can see. Obviously, we have the Power BI, we have the Power Apps, we have the Power Automate, and we have the Power Virtual Agent. And as you can see, the Power BI is for business analytics, right? Just like I said, it's used for, creating dashboards and the likes. The Power Apps is for building applications. Automate is actually for robotics process automation, and also to automate some other form of other processes, while the Power Virtual Agent is actually for building bots. I'm sure we're conversant with that. So let us look at Power Apps. So it's actually a subscription-based, simple-to-use business tool that allows you to build applications very quickly. Yes, so you can quickly build applications. Like I said earlier, it's about rapid application development. It allows you to, in the twinkling of an eye, build a data source and, create screens, and hey, you're good to go. And you have an application up and running. So the beauty of it is that it connects to different platforms, So it connects to Twitter, it connects to Yammer, it connects to SharePoint, it connects to Facebook, it connects to Box. There are quite a number of connectors that you have within it that you can plug this into to build your application. Yes, why it is for non-IT people. Professional developers also build on this. I have seen projects of, millions of dollars that built leveraging this platform. I mean, when you talk about Fortune 500 companies leverage this platform to also build applications. So you build forms and you build workflows without writing line of code. Like I said earlier, your knowledge of PowerPoint, your knowledge of Excel functions, allows you to be able to use this. All you just need to do is to be able to, navigate around this. So you can build straight away and you publish your application for use. While I was, surfing the net, I saw something that somebody built with Power Apps, and I was like, hey, this makes a lot of sense. If you look at this form now, look at it, Fabricam Residence, this is a form, this is an application that was built within the software, and you can see how paying the thing is. So it depends on how you are able to, also design the look and feel, because user experience is also very, very key. So I haven't talked about Power Apps. We can look at Power Apps like a form where you use to collect your data, or where you use to, interact with users. We're now looking at Power Automate. Power Automate, like the name implies, is actually for automation. You talk about robotics process automation. You talk about automating tasks. Some of the things you can do with Power Automate is also to look out for hashtags on Twitter, or look for anywhere you are mentioned, or to even schedule your Twitter feeds, to schedule your Facebook feeds. Beyond that, within an organization, for instance, you can watch out for mail from a particular person, maybe your supervisor. Once he sends you a mail, you want to get like a push notification so that you can quickly attend to it. So this is what Power Automate does. Amongst every other thing that it does, you can build, you can connect to API from Power Automate and do some other stuff. So it helps you to work smarter, and across apps and services. You can see some of the things that it does here. So I'll just move because of time. It has so many templates that you can leverage, right? Which you can see here. And you can see how the interface is. You're not writing code, right? You have connectors that you just be dragging and dropping, you connect, and you add all of those things. What you just need to do is to know how to do that. So then we go to Power BI. Microsoft Power BI, came into limelight, say 5-6 years ago, and I can tell you authoritatively that it has actually taken over. Back in the day, we still have Tableau and some other analytics solution, but Power BI has gained ground a lot. And you can even, if you're a Power BI specialist, for instance, and it's a lot. I have a friend, I have a colleague in the community who started Power BI just like 2-3 years ago. Two of them, I can tell you they are doing absolutely fantastic. Now, Power BI is something that, if you really invest your time in, you definitely. I have quite a number of guys that are doing Power BI, and it's fun, it's interesting. And Power BI is actually business intelligence. The BI means business intelligence. Is designed to give you visual representation of your data. If you have, like, for instance, big data, you want to do analytics, you want to be able to see, percentage of so thing to so thing, male to female in a pie chart, quite a number of things that you can do within Power BI to show your organization performance or this thing. As a matter of fact, if we're collecting records for attendance at Usura, for Variety Night, for IPW and the likes, at the end of the day, wants to see, you just want to have an overview in dashboard of how people have attended programs, of how you fed. The analytics allows you to see this, and Power BI is a good tool for you to leverage to achieve that. So just like I said, you're familiar with the concept of dashboard and KPIs. Power BI is what Microsoft has designed to do this. So you can see a sample analytics that was done here. This is on your laptop, this is on your mobile, and this is on your tablet. So once you build this across different form factors, you can view your analytics. You can see how beautiful this is. So we go. Okay, so we talk about Power Virtual Agent. So Power Virtual Agent, like I said earlier, is actually used to build bots. For some of us, if you have used Google Leo, if you have used Siri, if you have used Google Assistant, quite a number of virtual agents. So you can build your bots leveraging Power Virtual Agent. So the beauty of all of this is that all of these tools are actually interwoven. So within your Power App, you can reference Power Automate. Within your Power BI, you can reference Power App. Within Power Virtual Agent, you can reference Power Automate. So that's the beauty of Microsoft suite of products, right? You can work with Microsoft Word, Excel, you know, they are actually interwoven. And that's what makes Microsoft solutions highly adoptable. So you can test and publish powerful bots faster using automation AI and using a collaborative local GUI, you know, with no training required. You just need to start, get your hands dirty, and you see all of this. So this is how the user interface is, which you will see that there's no code here. They are just connectors that you need to put together, and you can also test your bots. On this, which you see on the left. Once you are building it, you can also test it on this left. And I'm sure you enjoy it, because it is just like we used to say, what you see is what you get, right? So by the time you are building it, you are testing it. If it's not responding well, you know what to correct, you go back. So it's quite interesting. It's fun. So some other, that's about the Power Platform. Those 4 things I've mentioned, they're as small as they are quite interesting. They are knowledge that if you have them, you can go places. To take you to places. So I just focus on those 4, but there are other Microsoft, there are other prospects. When you talk about cloud computing, you talk about Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure allows you to, where you have your platform as a service, you have the software as a service, you have your infrastructure as a service, you can spin up server, right? You can spin up SQL, Azure SQL. A knowledge of this Azure alone is actually, in fact, not alone, because it's actually huge. There are different area of specializations within Azure, and there are different exams that you write. Within Azure, there's Azure 900, which is the foundation. There's Azure 104, there's Azure 2. They're quite much. You can liken this to Amazon Web Service for those who are non-IT people. So Azure is just like, let me say, okay, for instance, we're doing this Zoom meeting. This Zoom backend is actually hosted somewhere. So it's either it's hosted in Azure or it's hosted in AWS, any other cloud, right? You are using WhatsApp, the backend is sitting somewhere. You are using any application that you are using, you are actually interacting with the front end, but the backend is sitting somewhere. So that's what the cloud does. It allows you to do all of these things. There's also SharePoint. Now, SharePoint is actually very interesting. I started with SharePoint, and it's been my baby. SharePoint has been my baby. I've done SharePoint in quite a number of places. I started with it, and till tomorrow, I still fall in. It's still my forte. So you can also decide to be a SharePoint expert. Is Microsoft Electronic Document Management System. You also use it to build intranet, right? I can tell you authoritatively that Fortune 500 companies use this as a means of intranet and as well as electronic document management. So you need to find out. It's interesting. There's the on-premises version and there's the SharePoint Online. On-premises meaning that you are deploying within your organization. The server is sitting within your organization, right? And you're paying for license. You can also decide to have the server in the cloud, but the server is yours. But the SharePoint Online version is the one where you pay licenses. You pay monthly. Just like a tenant in a house or a shop. You rent a shop and you pay monthly or you pay yearly. That's what SharePoint Online is about. You pay monthly rent or yearly rent, as the case may be. You also have Windows Server, right? Windows Server, we have Windows Server 2016, we have Windows Server 2020, we have Windows Server 2012. These are operating systems that you can also decide to specialize in them. That's where you now have, like, you want to be a system administrator, right? And all of these have their own exams too. The Windows 10 that all of us are used to is also an aspect that you can also write the exam. You can also, decide to specialize in. When you talk about database, we have Microsoft SQL Server. Database, the simple name which you are all used to. Excel is a database, but of course, it's a flat file. We also talk about Access, but when you're talking about database, you look at Microsoft SQL Server. It's also an area of specialization that you might also look at. There's also CRM, Customer Relation Management, and ERP, Enterprise Resource Plan. I mean, that's where Microsoft Dynamics comes in, right? So companies like tech experts are good at Dynamics. They support Dynamics, and you can, it's an area you can also look at. We have mobile device management. So in this age of remote work, in this age of yes, remote work. So you want to, there's mobile device management, you want to manage laptop, manage phone. So we use software like Intune and Endpoint Manager to manage those devices. If somebody contacted me I'm from UK, and I can tell you the offering was mouth-watering, of course, because I'm not in UK, so I didn't really, but I can tell you authoritatively is an area that is also interesting. Endpoint Manager, how to manage devices, how to, so what this also does is it allows you to install operating system on computers without having to physically be on the system. So like if you have like 50 computers and you want to install OS on them, you want to install Office on them, you can do this via Endpoint Manager. You want to restrict the Endpoint Manager is what you do, and it's also an area of specialization that you can look at. There's also project management. There's project management server, there's project management software, right? These are skills that you need if you want to be a project manager, for instance, or if you want to be, so there are skills that you can also look at. There's also Microsoft 365, which is for productivity. Microsoft 365 has in it, I mean, when you learn this, you'll be talking about Exchange Online, you'll be talking about SharePoint Online, you'll be talking about Microsoft Teams, right? You'll be talking about, I mean, there are quite a number of things that Microsoft 365 has in it. Then when you now look at development too, you talk about C#, you talk about Xamarin, you also talk about how to use Visual Studio itself, you talk about how to use VS Code, you know? So these are all the tools, all of the offerings that Microsoft has, right? I'm sure they are not exhausted, there are still others. So, and the beauty of all of this is that you can always have access to their documentation easily. Their documentations can be easily accessed. If you want to write the exam, it's cheap. I mean, $80 for students, it can be reduced. You know, back in the day when Nigeria was still, I mean, better than this, when you're writing an exam, maybe 11,000, 13,000 because of dollar. I mean, now you're spending like 35,000. But from time to time also, Microsoft also do giveaway that you can do exam for free, or you do it at 75%, you know, so you can also do that. So, and so all of this I've been saying is about, yeah, Microsoft's line of business. I mean, the Office suite and everything that it has to offer. One thing that I also didn't mention is Excel. Excel is actually extremely important and powerful. For those who are financial analysts, for instance, they cannot do without Excel, right? Excel is, if you know Excel, I'm telling you, it's a big fish, especially when you are in the financial industry, because you have to do modeling, you have to do all of those things, everything that is within Excel. So it's actually very interesting too. So in the words of William Author, he says, curiosity is the weak in the candle of learning. So for you to, I mean, to be able to explore this, you have to be curious. You have to be curious. You know, when the wick in candle is burning, you know it will be hitting the candle down, down, down. It's because it is curious. You want to see what's down, down, down. So that's why it keeps burning. So you have to be curious. You have to take time to, I mean, explore some of these things and chart a path for yourself. And these are resources that are available. You can go online and check them. The resources are there. You know, we're in an age where information is there. Learning is no longer used to be as difficult as it used to be. Back in the day, you look for books under the bridge and the lines. But yeah, you can buy Udemy course for just 3,500. You can do 3-4 courses. Hey, we are doing 11 courses in LASU, or 8 courses, Ronjikuta and the likes. And you'll be doing them. And you'll be doing them. And you'll be doing them. So you understand? So you can do two courses at the same time, and you can crack it. So I think I have to stop at this point. I've exhausted my time. Thank you so much for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. May Allah continue to increase in knowledge. Thank you very much for that lecture. I have learned a lot, and I'm very sure the audience have learned even more. So next, I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to call on the next guest speaker, Brother Elias Sidowu-Dursimi, to give us his own lecture.
Well, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you guys can hear me clearly.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. We can hear you clearly, sir.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, so thanks so much for that. I think Ibrahim has pretty much said all I needed to say. What I envisage, because I was actually expecting that, alhamdulillah. However, I think I would like to actually throw more insight into certain things. And for me, I'm someone who used to work in software, I will put it that way. So right now I'm more into talent acquisition, something you would call HR here in Nigeria. And for the last part, for the most part rather, basically what I do is to manage, screen a set of senior software engineers who would screen anyone who is interested in joining my company. So that's basically what I do. So to a large extent, I work with a lot of data, and I love to pass information using data. And I think a lot of people would better much understand, when they have those data's information before them, and that would hopefully guide them on what to do or which of the career line they should focus on. One thing is clear though to everyone: the tech industry is booming. We all know that. For some of us, we've been to Twitter, we see a lot of people would say, oh, this is what I earn. There's that, it has become like a norm now. One of the things I love doing as a side gig, not that I charge for it, but just something I love doing, is I help a lot of Muslims find love. And one of the things, a trend that I have seen is that majority of the time, a lot of the sisters, or the sisters mostly, want someone who works in tech. Pretty much maybe because they know that people in tech are kind of hot cake now, and it's easier for them to get a job. To a large extent, everybody wants comfort, even the brothers, not just the sisters. So I think it's understandable for them to say, okay, yes, this is what I want, or this is the kind of person I'm looking out for. Now, so I would be sharing my screen now. So I don't know if I have the right to share screen. Can you give me the permission, please? Permission to share the screen.
Yeah, you can share your screen now. Yeah, you can share your screen now.
Okay, thank you very much. So do let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can,
Yes,
sir.
we can.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Yes, so even though, yes, this presentation, I think it still goes in line to share some insights, for us. One thing is sure, we all use mobile phones. Some of us are connected to this event via a mobile phone. I was reading information for my own company's data, and one of the things that amazed me was that 70% of all applications coming into the company's job, and I can tell you, we recruit a lot of people. In a month, the lowest intake, people applying to my company, the lowest we've gotten is 1,700. So that gives you more insight into what kind of amount of people who are trying to join my company I work for. And from those data, so at the end of the year, after we did some analysis, we discovered that 70% of people applied via their mobile phone. So that tells you a lot about the mobile. The mega trend of the 21st century is going to be empowered, by people who are connected via mobile devices. Now, people who use phone and tablets to access the internet will outnumber those who use a PC by 2015. Just like I said, some of the data are also, but in 2020, of course, we know that a lot of people, just like I rightly said, 70% of people who applied to Andela use the mobile phone. Also, over 200 million, of course, it has fast outshined that. We have millions of people who use tablets now. And one of the ways people would access certain things, be it Zoom, be it whatever, is the use of tablets as well. Okay. Now, 29% of Americans say their phone is the first and the last thing they look at every day. And of course, some of us, we've experienced this. When we wake up from sleep in the morning, the first thing we want to check is our WhatsApp or TikTok or whatever platforms we're comfortable in. It tells you the reality that mobile phones is now the next big, it's like the big thing now. It's not the next big thing. A lot of people will, a lot of organizations understand this, that yes, a lot of the millennials, just like Ibrahim said, are so much attached to their phone. So how do they get the last chunk of people via those platforms? At least 50% of consumers will use 2 or more devices in their purchase process. So this tells you another aspect as well. Of course, it has fast outshined this as well. So we could equally say that 60 to 70% of people would buy things from their mobile phones as well. So I'm still just going to share this statistic, then later I give you more insight into it. 1/2 of all local searches are conducted on mobile phone. That still explains to you that a lot of people would be using their mobile phone to do searches. Remember, the keyword here is mobile. On average, Americans spend 2.7 hours. Of course, this has increased. This has since then. I think the last one I saw was like close to 8 hours people spend on their mobile devices on a typical day. Now, 90% of mobile searches lead to action and 50% leads to a purchase. So this gives you another insight that majority of the time when people search on their mobile phones, 90% of the time it leads to people taking action. And by lead to taking action means that they are, for example, you are someone who is searching for a book. That means they would actually, 90% of them would actually buy the book. So it tells you that, for example, someone who is interested in going to social media, for example, understands that social media marketing, understand that, yes, if I really want to get more people who would buy my products, I should focus on the place where the buying power is. And these are people who uses mobile devices. And the good thing about it is Facebook, LinkedIn, and the likes, they allow you to, when you are trying to do adverts on their platform, to select that, okay, yes, I want this advert to be sent to only people who do mobile, who are on their mobile phones and who have certain amount of purchasing power and the likes. So let's go on. So, and it goes on like that. 80% of smartphone owners use their devices. So at least this gives you an idea into, what the power of mobile. And I would still like us to come back to this, but let me just run through the stats for now. So mobile, tablets as well. What's happening is not moving. What's wrong with mine? Oh, okay. Okay, is it moving now? I think
we can see social.
Yes, I'm trying to move past it, but it seems to be hanging. I guess I have a lot of things opened.
Moving now. It's on another page now, 100 hours of video.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, so the next stage here is, and what I'm trying to pinpoint here is still around, social as well. And remember the first stage was mobile. The next thing is social. 100 hours of videos are uploaded to YouTube every minute. 85% of those users say social networks help them decide what to buy. My keeps hanging. Okay, it's taking a while to. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Now, 93% of marketers are using social media for their businesses. And one thing we need to understand here is, first, I remember we were looking at the data for mobile. Now, for the mobile aspect, it tells you that a lot of companies would be, having the high demand for certain skills. In the mobile aspect, they will be looking out for certain skills. Number one, they are looking out for mobile developers, because you know that most of the things that we use, our TikTok, our Instagram, or whatever app that we are using on our phone, they are mobile apps. They are designed separately from how the web would look like. Do you understand? So it is important that we understand, it is important for us to know that here, there's going to be a growth, and which has, it is a major demand. There are major demands for people who can build, Android apps or iOS app, or who can build hybrid apps that you will build on just one language and you can easily port them on Android or iOS. So there is a growing and a very growing demand for all of those skills. Now for the social, this is where the likes of digital marketers come into play. We have, social media experts. They need to understand how to best deal with certain things. And remember that I've shown you a lot of things around social, mobile, and as well as the social media here as well. For example, here it tells you that YouTube reaches more US adults about the ages of 18 to 34 than any other cable network. It tells you a lot of things. Imagine if you're a data marketer, who are going to be your target audience if you are going to be doing adverts on YouTube. You know that if you are looking out for people about a certain age, then YouTube might not be the best go-to port for you. It's, all these things shows you that there's opportunities in what's it called, in mobile. There's opportunity in the social network as well. So let's hope that this thing is back online. It is too slow. So I might have to close it. Let me just manage it this way. Hopefully it's instead of, okay. So hope we can see this.
Yes, we can.
Okay, lovely. So let me just manage it this way. So the next thing is cloud, and just like Ibrahim explained, the personal cloud will gradually replace almost all of our devices on almost all of our interactions, and on some of us we have it. Let me give you a typical example of the usage of your cloud. Most times when we install our WhatsApp, we see that most times we have to sync. Let's say you bought a new device, a new phone rather, and you need to sync with your what's it called, with with Google Cloud, Google Drive. So what you will be doing at that point in time is that when you're moving to a new phone, all of your WhatsApp information can still be brought up into that new one. You understand? So this is where cloud is fast growing, and the major reason being that most times things used to be on premise, that is within a certain location. within a company, within a factory, on site. However, things started happening. Let's say, for example, I have backed up thousands of my data, and before you know it, my system crashed. I'm sure some of us have experienced that. It could have been in the case of our flash drive, for example. It could have been in the case of our system or phone or whatever devices that we are using. However, when you have information on the cloud, it means that those information can easily be accessed by you, and you would be sure that that whatever those data are, you can always retrieve them. One good example again of this is is in the use of what's it called? I can't remember the word for it now, but let's go on because of time. So the next thing here, we should know that cloud will generate, of course, like I said, this was by Forbes in 2015. And this is 40 million jobs. Of course, it has fast increased. And this tells you that in worst case scenario, 2020, we are looking at about 20 million jobs. We don't even have, to the best of my knowledge, 2 million cloud engineers. So it tells you that there's a growing opportunity in this industry. And it's important that we know that, yes, it's important for us to know this as well. Because I'm trying to rush through some of this because of time, so that we stay within the limit. So, sorry. Sorry, can we mute? Okay, yes. And the next thing, and which is one of the things I like to tell people more about, is data. In a world where the world we currently live in, there are over 17 zettabytes of data. I'm sure we might not, some of us have never heard of that word, zettabytes of data. It could look very, very big, but let me give you a good idea into what zettabytes mean. Now, 1 zettabyte, remember I said that currently we have over 17 zettabytes of data that are being generated here and there. And these data are being generated over different devices. Your phone is one good example. For some of us, we use smartwatches. So those data are coming from those devices as well. It could be from the healthcare industry. It could be the art monitors or whatever. A lot of these informations are generating data. So this data that we are talking about here is over 17 zettabytes of data. Now, 1 zettabyte of data, it's around, okay, let me look at, okay, now, we all know what 1 terabyte of hard drive means, right? 1 terabyte of hard drive. Now, think of 1 terabyte hard drive that is filled up. 1 terabyte. Now, think of that 1 terabyte hard drive and 1 billion of those 1 terabyte. That is, if you start counting 1 hard drive, 1 terabyte hard drive, you will need 1 billion of it to get 1 zettabyte. Now, multiply that by 17. That should give you a good insight into the data that we have. Now, the data engineers, the data scientists, the data analysts, whatever data experts that we have are not even up to, I'm sure they are not up to 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. Let's worst case scenario, 10 million experts in data. They are not enough to manage this crazy amount of data that we have. Remember, we are looking at 17 zettabytes of data. And we live in a world whereby, decisions and inference is not left to just, oh, this person is the data analyst. He should be the only one to learn about it. I tell you right now, every industry, just like Ibrahim said, every industry needs someone who can read data and better analyze them, because that would be the only thing that would assist you grow in that your field. Good example, I've always been a software engineer before transitioning into HR. And I can tell you for a fact that most of the things I don't code. It's been ages I've touched a line of code. I joke with people that I can't even remember what Hello World looks like, you know, with PHP or whatever language. However, I deal with a lot of data. And remember, I told you that the worst case scenario in my company, we are looking at 1,500, 1,700 in a month of applications coming in. However, it's not only those applications, a lot of things are into play. Those data, there are a lot of data coming in from social media, from those applications, and those applications to have sub-data in them. So we have, like, you know, millions of data coming in into my company. I need to be able to understand those data, to be able to make preferences, because I lead a team of software engineers. I need to be able to visualize those data and say that, okay, based on certain data and based on a trend within a week or a week or in a month, I should be able to tell that, oh, it seems like React engineers, there's so much growing demand for React engineers. Then I need to be able to upgrade my screeners if there is a need for me, so that there is no lead time. So all of those things, those decisions can only be made if you understand how to use data. So I tell people, it is not, you don't have to be a data analyst. It's just like saying that, what's it called? A connoisseur, someone who tastes wine. It doesn't mean because they analyze and give certain things like, oh, this is the best of wine, or a movie critics. It doesn't mean that they are movie producers. However, they understand movie or they understand wine for them to be able to give insights on it. And that's one of the things, is a very important skill that every organization is looking out for. Remember, there's so much data, and it's important that we understand how to give better insight into it. Now, this is you learning this. However, there's still a growing trend. There's a growing demand for this in the industry as well. There's a need for data engineers. There's needs for data scientists. There are needs for data analysts. There are artificial intelligence engineers. They all work with this data. They are machine learning experts. And for some of us, we've heard about things like, what's it called, metaverse. And I can tell you for a fact, there is going to be billion, what am I saying? I'm sure the zettabyte will fast go off, and I don't know what will be the next thing, maybe Omicron byte or something. You know, there should be one next byte that would come after that zettabyte, because there will be so much data coming in from those things, and there will be need for people who will start analyzing those data. There are now things like analytical engineers as well. So the industry is fast growing. There's a lot of opportunities out there for you. And it's important that we understand what these opportunities are. Remember, the best time we have is now, when we are still in school, because by the time we leave school, there is going to be a lot of responsibilities before you. And at that point in time, it might be very, very tough for you to learn. You have now, because you are still much in school. Yes, I understand that, yes, there's there's schoolwork, there's school exams and every other. Yes, those are there, but I tell you, you have enough time now as compared to when you go out there. Things become a little bit tough. And again, yes, NYC is another good time to hop your skills. But remember, I've said that there is so much demand in those industry. Now, I think because of I'm just going to skip some of this because it keeps hanging. I've told you about the mobile, I've told you about the clouds, and I've also told you about data and the opportunities out there. Now, another big one is the software itself. Most of the tools are going to be used for a lot of these things. Is it cloud? Is it mobile? Is it data? Whatever needs a software expert to build those things that would allow those you to scale in those bits in data, bits in cloud. And there will always be a growing demand for software engineers. I can tell you for a fact that, however, there's based on data, I like to work with data a lot because it gives me better insight into certain things. data scientists, data analysts, artificial intelligence, especially. There's been a projected growth rate in terms of demand that they would, that is going to increase to about 344%. Remember, I said 344%, not 100%, 344% demand for artificial intelligence experts. And all this is attached to the fact that these are people who understand data to a certain extent, and they can best analyze those data and give inference based on those data. So there is so much demand, and there will be a crazy amount of demand for artificial intelligence engineers, analyst engineers, data scientists, machine learning experts as well. There's software engineers too. Yes, it's been a little bit declining in the software engineering space, and largely because there is a lot of tools out there that helps, like the tools I2 did alight for us, like the Power Apps. They do a lot of the things that you would have paid a software engineer to do. So one aspect again is automation, and and which is one of the things I2 Ibrahim highlighted as well. Another demands is DevOps. DevOps and clouds are a little bit related, and it's important that we understand that as well, that yes, there's a growing demand for that. What else? Again, network engineers are still very much important. I would try to attach them with the cloud, because you can't really do a lot of things with cloud without having much skills on networking as well. Yes, there's demand for tech sales. Sales, you can't run away from sales. When you build a lot of these apps, you need people who are very good in tech and who can do sales as well. So that is the work of tech sales engineer. I remember a brother who works in Oracle reached out to me that he was looking out for a tech sales engineer who would, there was a vacancy in Oracle and they wanted someone to replace those fields. And I can tell you it's a growing demand, and they need people in those aspects as well. And if you have a good app, no matter how good the app is, and that app is not selling, you're not getting customer, then I can tell you that app is useless, and it's just a matter of time it's going to die. So there is a need, there's a big need for those who are good with tech sales to handle those aspects as well. There's design as well. Most of these things that we are seeing, the look and feel, has to be done by design experts. And that's where we have things like UI, UX, product designers, and the likes. People need to be able to come up with a design based on certain research that, oh, this is how people interact with applications. So they would come up with things that would make it easier for us to use. So it's very, very important that we do that. Also, my system has given me a warning. Okay, machine learning engineers, I like to say that as well. What else? Yes, there's product managers as well. I think I'll have to close this PowerPoint. It seems to be consuming a lot of resources. Anyway, so the next product managers is another good example as well. Product managers, what they basically do here is there's a lot of moving parts to develop, to build a tech company, or to even build an app. You need someone who would design. You need someone who would write the software. You need someone who would handle the back end, the front end, someone who would handle the old devs of operation, the cloud resources, the infrastructure that needs to be put in place. Now, the product manager is someone who comes in between all of these things and helps manage all of the communications gaps in between the two. Because if you leave a software engineer with a design person, they will just fight and kill themselves. So we need someone who would come in and try to, help with those communication gaps. That, oh, back end needs certain things. Which of these departments can handle them? How best can we handle this? They help give the vision for the application itself. Then there is another aspect that I think I skipped, which is QA. QA are those people who assist, just like it means quality assurance. They check to be sure that they make sure that whatever applications you build are top notch, and they do exactly what they were meant to do. So just like that's what QM is, or in some companies, they just call them software testers. So basically they test all applications to be sure that they do what they are expected to do. And I think I was given to 6:10, so I think I've used my time well. Thank you, everyone. I would be here for questions if there is. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Elias, for that wonderful lecture. May Allah continue to increase in knowledge and understanding. Next, we are going to enter into the question and answer segment of the program. So the audience, I'm very sure you have noted down one or two questions or one or two things that the speakers have said have sparked some level of interest or question in you. So this is the time to throw your questions out there and let the speakers treat those questions. So in a few minutes, please let us have your questions. You can text them in the chat box on Zoom.
Yeah, I think I have a question.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, of course, I don't want to really re-emphasize on things that the speakers have said. I only need to just acknowledge that they've really done quite a lot to really expose us to opportunities out there in the tech space. So my question basically is going to be centered on how do we beat or manage the challenge of having a number of sisters and brothers in campus that they are so reluctant to learning a skill. Like they lay so much emphasis on the academics, despite the fact that they create time for it, it still doesn't reflect in their results, and they find it hard to navigate themselves into trying to learn a skill. So what kind of motivation can we do? Having to know that if perhaps they don't really acquire digital skill or they are not really tech enabled, they have quite a limited access to getting a job outside there. So how can we beat that challenge? Because it's something happening in the campus vicinity and environment.
Okay, maybe I can come in here. Yes, one of the things I've learned that I've seen rather is pretty much is how people learn. I think that's one of the major issues we have. People are so driven by the fact that they want things very fast. I can tell you that a lot of people who are in tech didn't have it in a jiffy. It was a consistent effort to want to learn and that determination to want to learn. Worst case scenario, sorry, is the brother here, the brother that asked the question? I'm trying to get more insight into things.
Yeah, I'm good.
Hello, are you here? What's the name again? Sorry, is
Middle Sadiq.
Okay, so Sadiq, so let me ask you, what are the major issues you're having? Is it that you don't have time, or the way you are reading, you have that time, you are reading, but it's not easy? You're not just grabbing those concepts.
Okay, like basically, my question is that how do we encourage young Muslims, I mean male and female, to develop interest in learning a digital skill? Because some of them are so reluctant to picking up a career in tech or learning an added skill to give them multiple potentials.
I think it's good to really understand why that is happening. I think for a fact, one of the major things is some of them could have tried it, and of course a lot of them are aware of the opportunities out there. However, some of them could have tried it, and they had that time, those tough time, trying to grab those concepts. Some of them could have tried it for maybe a week and they're like, oh, man, this is not my calling, you know, and I think that is where we should be able to come in and tell them that, see, yes, it could be tough in the initial stage, which every other person has been through. However, maybe this is not what is the best way for you to learn. It's one thing that I always advise people is try to understand how best you learn. For some people, they might, maybe it could be that they love reading books, and because one of their friends is advised them to watch video and they kept going through those videos and they are not grabbing those concepts. And, you know, they easily get turned off from those fact that, oh, this tech thing, Jerry, is not for everyone, you know? So I think when we, you know, try to assist them in, try to understand what is available out there. Also, it is important that we know that, yes, there are a lot of opportunity in the tech industry. Software might be a little bit not your own expertise, but there are a lot of fields out there. Try to understand what every part of it, you know, there's a lot of short videos that would give you like a 2-minute insight into all of those things. What is cybersecurity? What is cloud? What is DevOps? What is this? You know, that, you know, based on all of those things that you're exposed to, it will guide you into, okay, I think I love the passion. I'm good with maths, for example, and I think I love statistics. Then, yeah, maybe that data science should be something I should focus on, because data science is big on statistics and the like. So, you know, I would want to believe that people just jump on a wagon of, oh, everybody's going to software, let me go into software. But again, you need to understand what you are good at and how best you, you know, how best you learn as well. I don't know if Ibrahim has something to say.
Okay, thank you, Drosimi. I think you said it was as an addendum. I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the hammer on the nail. So I think we need to, you know, we need to expose them to the varieties of opportunities that are available, not just software development. Just like I said, you can go the route of low code. You can look at doing Power BI. You can look at cyber security. You can, you know, I think also that we can make it a point of duty to write out all these opportunities. I mean, if it's possible for us to write them out on a banner or a book and post within the premises of the mosque so that people can see. There's business analysis, right? For any application you want to build or software, there has to be a business analyst who gathers requirement. It's a role that is hot. You know, for somebody who is good at writing, hey, you might want to be a business analyst. It's a role that is key. You also want to be a quality assurance person, right? If you are trying for any application that is built or a website or name it, it has to be tested by a quality assurance person. So it's also a skill that you can also look at. You don't need to write code in that. The only part where you need to write code in quality assurance is when it comes to automated testing. I mean, just write some level of coding. But then these are opportunities that you can also look at. So what I think, and I think is to the Amir and the entire crew, I mean, let's look at how to have all different opportunities. I mean, and have it on the board of the mosque so that people can see and look at areas that they feel they're interested in. Like the Power Platform too, it's an interesting thing. I mean, so when I was in school, I did PHP. I fell in love with it because as I was building my application, I was seeing the results. That alone gives me joy. When I hit an obstacle, I know that I have to go back and, you know, so I think that's what we should do. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Why something?
Yes, sorry, please. I don't know if I'm allowed to just say a few things, like in addition to what by Ibrahim and Elias have mentioned regarding not expecting everybody to be in the tech space. Whether we like it or not, the era we are, for you to be able to, you know, to optimize your business processes, whatever you do better, you need to infuse some element of tech. So you are either a tech builder or you are a tech consumer, either ways. So if you feel that, yes, I'm not interested in being a tech builder, which means you are the core guy who build the core tech solutions, you can choose the tech user part. So what it means is that you look at your field, for instance, you're in mechanical engineering and you want to practice as a mechanical engineer. Oh, what softwares are dominant in my field? Autodesk, for instance. Take that, make sure you master it, and you become the best mechanical engineer around using technology solutions. So I think as young people, we also need to look at that route. We can look at case studies of how you can go the application route, meaning you just want to be a tech user, you want to be able to take this problem, this mechanical problem, and you want to see how best you can use tech solutions. You definitely find those solutions. And if you become master at using those solutions, you're also a tech expert in that regard. So I think that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the um, response, sir. I can see we still have like a lot of questions in the chat box that needs answers. For example, brother Otumbanjo Abdulhamid is asking, how can someone choose a career path in tech for somebody that is just starting out?
Just like I said earlier, try to understand what you are good at, because honestly, tech can be, especially software, you can easily get burned out and you can easily lose interest. It's easier when you do something that you have that passion for, something that aligns with what your core skills, your core strengths are. So one of the things I advise is try to understand what all these moving parts are in tech. For example, software. If I want to be a software engineer, what will it entail? What do they get to do? What aspects of software engineering do we have? Mobile, is it web? You look at all of those options, and after that, it will. After that, you've brush through all of those things. I'm not saying you should take a course on all of them. Basically what you are doing is you could just look up some crash courses on YouTube and the likes, just something of 2 minutes, just to have an idea into what it entails. Afterwards, and also look at your own core skills. What do you like doing? And after that, maybe for example, you're someone who loves creativity. You're looking at, well, how can I create things around that? You could be looking at design. For example, maybe it could be UI UX, for example, or it could also be that you are creating things for social media as well as a creative person. So, the most important thing is there is no template that fits all. Just understand yourself. That's one of the most important things. And then what all of those opportunities out there in terms of, at least if I call you to talk to me about cybersecurity in just a minute, what does it mean? If that means, to a certain extent, you have an idea about it. And once you do that and you have an idea about all of those things, then it's easy for you to understand that, okay, yeah, these are my core skills and this is what I am good at. Then you know how to meet yourself in the yes, okay, thank you. So Ibrahim, I wouldn't know if you have something.
Okay, I think I can take the next question.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. The audience, I can see that a lot of people are asking questions relating to what the question the speaker just asked. So I guess a lot of you have picked a lot from what he has said. Go online, do your own research, try to align it with your interest and where you are strong at. So I'm going to take this question by brother Aregbeshola Abdulaziz. He says, how do we get work experience, especially with the fact that most companies requires like 3 years experience as a data scientist or analyst? Also, some internship ask for a year experience. Although just like you have stated that there are opportunities in this field, then how can one acquire this opportunity to get work experience after personal learning and taking courses?
Okay, so let me say that 3 years experience requirement is a scam. Okay, let me put it that way. So the reason is that, let me shock you. So some of these HR people, so let me tell you what they do. They go online and copy requirements. Sorry, Mr. Drosimi. So they go online and copy a job role. So they will say, so they will say for this role, they need 5 years experience. You must be able to write C#, C++, JavaScript. It's a lie. So what they are doing is they just want to use it to, scare people. I'm telling you, by the time you apply, your one experience will get you in. And maybe it's only C#, we get you in. But the key thing is that, you see, whatever you are doing, just be good at it. I remember when I got my first job, right? It was a senior colleague who was vacating the position. He was traveling, I think he was going to First Bank, and he called me, and I was just a fresh graduate. Hey, they gave me that job. I was just finishing my NYSC now, maybe 2-3 months after my NYSC, and they gave me the job. And it was a role that I'm sure they needed like a 3 years experienced person. And now, because of my experience that I've had during my IT internship, and maybe, one project that I did, gave me, so as you are in school, I know some of you, I know some brothers that are in school and are already working self. I can relate to one of those, and that, they're even serving and they're already working. So once you know something, forget, nobody wants to know if you are a fresh graduate or not. Once you know it, you are a subject matter expert, at least to an extent. You are getting a job. The most important thing is for you to get the job done now. So it's not a case. So, and for you to start, it's not a big deal. Just look for where you feel you are good at and just start. Just get started. That's the first step you need to take. Get started, and during over time, by the time you start in a year, you'd have seen the difference. So you too can comfortably speak about that thing. So you're already a subject matter expert. People will take you. So that's just it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibrahim. So let me add to that as well. Yes, it is. It is not that easy right now. And I can tell you for a fact, especially when you apply, most of the organizations, what they do is they use ATS software. Okay, good. So most of the organizations, what they use an ATS application software. And what the ATS would do is to look through your resume or your CV, and they look for certain keywords. They are looking at your years of experience and some certain things. And after they do those application review and they see that you didn't meet up with the minimum of 3 years, they get to reject you. Yes, so it's things that happen. However, one of the things I advise people is, yes, you can look out for internship roles. Internship roles doesn't really expect you to have 10 years of experience. And I think the majority of the time, what we have here is some of our youths really want to start earning dollars like yesterday, and they are not willing to put in those efforts of, I want to start with an internship, because those internships might not pay, or in some cases they don't pay too well. So one of the things I advise is the easiest way for you is to do an internship. And I can tell you for a fact, I've seen a lot of people who I have advised that I know that they have below 3 years. And when I tell them to apply at my company, Andela, and you will see that most of the times they get rejected. And the reason being that you can't really, there's that level of experience that you get when you have done certain number of years in that field. You will have faced a big line of, see crazy bugs. You will have seen a lot of those things. And those things might be what the interviewer would ask you during those interviews. These are things that you cannot just learn overnight. You understand? You might know how to do the hello world. I know how to do all of those things that are needed. However, there are some things that come with experience. And if you don't have it, you don't have it. It depends, except if you have gone through, you've worked with a company. And let me give you an example. Imagine you are self-learning, and Self-learning means that you with your GitHub and the likes. That's very limited. Now, imagine you've worked in a team. So definitely you are running how to interact with Git in a different aspect. What kind of tools you would use, or what kind of task, and how to manage in a team-based approach. And this is what big companies are looking out for. People who have worked in a team, in a team rather than just me as a freelancer or me alone. And these things you can only get maybe when you work in an organization, even if it's as an internship. So also another way you can get a job is your LinkedIn is very, very important. If you are looking out to become like a React engineer or a data scientist, for example, one of the things I advise people is go on LinkedIn, search, type data science, data scientist, and click on people. It's going to show you like the top people's, who are in data science based on LinkedIn. Look out for what is on their profile and see how best you can fashion your own profile to be like that. Fashion it in the sense that you are not only using those styles and tags and all that, you are also learning those concepts. It doesn't mean that you have to learn it to be an expert, but learning it enough to be like a junior data scientist so that you can be employable. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if I could chip in one or two things. This is Brown Rain election.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So just to allude to the fact that Elias and I Square, I think they spoke well, right? And I want to relay this with my little experience in the industry, right? I work with GE. I think I started with GE when I was in 500 level in electronics and computer engineering, LASU-EPE, right? So for the fact that you want to get a good job, right? You have to start from ground zero. Ground zero means you have to be moldable and you want to also learn. A lot of companies right now, they have almost zero tolerance to cheat from scratch, right? So, and this is where your scalability of your experience is very important. I started off as an intern with GE 2009, right? And after 1 year, I got a full contract. The best person, right, to do the data security for GE then. Then I was a Cisco professional, right, CCMP. And one word that stood out for me was the fact that I was, moldable. Till now, I won't forget that word. The person that interviewed me told me I was moldable. And the being moldable stood out from what I was able to do, right? And I always tell people, yes, your CV, the way you put your CV together is very important. There is no need to overpackage your CV, right? And I will start, in a bit. When you overpackage your CV, it has a disadvantage. The disadvantage is that they might see you to be overqualified for the job, especially when you are coming in as a fresh graduate, right? Let me speak to the fact of a recent interview that we conducted for 2 candidates that we hired about 2 weeks ago. We had 2 candidates, top notch, right? One of them, but one actually stood out to the hiring manager, and the fact that that person stood out was because of just one single thing: sustainability and continuity in what he put forward to have learned. The other candidate kept moving from one job to the other less than 1 year. Left to the technical ability, they would have chosen the person that was, that was continuously improving, his knowledge and his CV. But the company needed somebody that was stable. Reason why I said stability is very important in whatever you are doing.
So not to prolong the the situation or to prolong my talk, I would advise that you need to be consistent in whatever you say you can do. And I'm a big fan. Yes, you have to be a domain expertise in whatever you are doing, but keep an eye on learning variable things, right? Variety is the spice of life, like they always say. If you are a domain expertise in a particular field, what the company looks at now, at the moment, the situation of things, globally, is that yes, we need somebody that has a domain expertise, but do I need to hire people for specific need all the time? They have moved from that model now to people that are flexible, people that are scalable, that, okay, you know what, yes, you know this, can I move you on to this and you still perform for me? The essence of that is I don't need too much head counts to get things done. I need to build on what you have to give you fresh knowledge, fresh perspective, my goals. So you also need to put an eye on that. Again, it's not bad for you to be a domain expertise in one particular field, but you have to also look at other platforms so that at the end of the day, you put yourself in a position where you are hireable, right? They also look at that. And again, certainty, sustainability, and scalability, these are my 3 words when you are putting out yourself for jobs. Thanks.
Thank you, Brother Nurain, for your valuable inputs. That has certainly shed more light on a lot of things, especially for me personally. I'm going to read out the last question now. So after this question, then we will end the program, inshallah. So Brother Abdul Samad is asking a question that how can a student balance his software technology development skills and his or her studies?
Okay, let me just do that briefly. So I think it's simple. It's just to, just to create time for yourself. Know when it's time for you to study. Your school activity, and know when it's time for you to do your software. Just create time. If it's 1 hour. Just have an allotted time for your software development so that it doesn't also affect your school activities. I think it's as simple as that.
If I could add to that as well, one practical way to go about it is you already have a timetable, so at least you have an idea as to what the school is going to be like. Before we resume, there's always a timetable for the whole term. So you have an idea that, from so and so time to so and so time, I'm going to be in classes, and this time is a no for me. Then you can plan yourself. Maybe after classes, you say, okay, I want to have like a 1 hour sleep in between. Of course, there's going to be solar and every other thing. Then the most important thing is, based on all those things, you know that, okay, yes, this after all those main calculations, then what are the available time left to me? Maybe it's 4 hours a day. I'm 100% sure at least you have 4 hours of spare time to yourself. I can tell you for a fact that if you can dedicate yourself, and I mean by dedication, you could dedicate at least 1 hour a day to learning, 1 hour a day, continuously for a year. I can tell you for a fact that you would have been able to achieve a whole lot, at least enough to even get you into into a job after a year. Data science, for example, you might not be and again, this doesn't mean that you are going to be an expert. in the field after those that 1 year. But at least it will be enough to get you started and to get dangerous with several tools. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Elias and Brother Ibrahim, for your answers to our various questions. May Allah continue to enrich you in knowledge and understanding. So we are going to come with that question. We are going to come to an end, and we're going to wrap up the event now. I will call on Brother Idowu Sodiq to please give us the closing remark. So.
Yes, many thanks about that, Abdul Bakari. Honestly, I really must commend the efforts of the Committee on Academic and Professional Excellence from LASUMEGA for their staunch support towards having such a expository career fair, a expo, to further enhance and expose students to viable opportunities outside there, because I can see for a fact that a lot of students here, which I'm one, we are not really that exposed to the kind of opportunities out there that we can tap into. And this career fair has really done, this career expo rather has done a whole lot to help us achieve this. And for those who were not able to join this session because it was quite rainy in campus here, and not so many persons use the MTN network. So some persons had serious issues joining the platform online. I mean the virtual conference, and I am glad that we had to live stream this session on YouTube, and I'm very sure that they would watch this session later on, and it will still meet the expectation as regards helping them understand several areas outside there in the tech space that they can tap into. And from our own end, we'll do so well to ensure that. Sorry about that. So from our own end, we'll do so well to ensure that we are still in touch with Engineer Munir Saba as regards some clarification and how they can assist us as well to understand these several skills outside there that students can start learning. And we appreciate the effort that LASUMEGA has done equally to, not just expose us to these opportunities outside there, but rather place us on a platform that we can leverage on to start learning. Platforms like Ustaki, which I know that towards the end of this semester, a lot of students would do so well to start taking up courses that they can start their learning process with. And I'm hopeful that, inshallah, this will be quite an outstanding and remarkable success in our life. And we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the efforts of the Committee on HCDC, ably chaired by Brother Yode Abdul Rashid, who have always been in sync with the LASUMEGA Committee on Professionalism. So we hope that more would come with this and would record more success, inshallah. This should be an hujjah for us, not an on the day of Qiyamah. I will just wrap this session with joint station of Surat al-Asr.
Yeah, bye, boy, Mido. Ella, thank you so much. And then, well, Nuwe Neleshi, it's really great having you on board. So I think we're going to be having, yeah, sure. Hopefully, we are going to be having some other sessions with you and some big shot amongst us. Thank you so much for joining.
That's fine. Anytime I'm at your service. And for the record, I always join this. I might not have been speaking, but I always join the programs. But anytime when you need my input or you want me to speak to anything, I am more than available. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
much. Yeah. Inshallah.